Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I hope you're well. I've got my bag on me because I've got my bits and pieces for some tomato cares. Welcome back to the garden. Let's have that one out. So, first of all, apologies on the last garden video that the volume was so low. It was such a quiet day in the garden and I just didn't want to disturb the peace. I was feeling the peace. Anyway, so I shall project a bit more today. Right, well, I'm continuing with all of the... where to start? I'm continuing with the jobs of what can I do to help the garden, having been away for ages. So the last time I tied the tomatoes, it was here, which is at about 5 foot, just a little under, and you can see they are now, well, it's out at the top of the frame, they're well over 6 feet tall. They don't know when to stop. So I'm going to do something I don't always do, haven't done in previous years. I am going to do it this year though, is I'm just going to cut out the growing tips. It's rather like the side shoots. I don't want the plant putting energy into side shoots. I don't want the plant putting energy into that and into keeping growing. I mean, they'll happily go over 8 feet, 9 feet. They'll just keep going. But I don't want them to do that. I want all the energy now to go into the fruit formation because, for instance, on this plant, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the beginnings of 9 trusses of fruit. And actually, if I get 4 trusses from each plant, that's more than enough. I mean, that's enough. So, let me count those up again. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4th truss. This is the 5th. Can you see that? They're kind of pretty much formed. I might leave... my indecision is final. I might leave that on for another week. I'm going to take those couple off. Take the top right out. I know it seems mean, doesn't it? Tie the rest of that in. I may actually change my mind on this truss. I may take it off. I'm going to leave it for now just because I'm a little indecisive. Leave it for now. So I'm going to do the same treatment. You can see this one. This tip here is the next door plant. So again, they're getting on for 7 feet tall. I don't need them to be that tall. So part of the thinking about this right now is because we're right at the end of August. I think it's the 25th today. For the last few years, we've actually had, a fabulous autumn with lots of sunshine, warmth. It's been brilliant. So right through September and October. I don't want to jinx myself. I'm going to show you something lower down shortly. Oh, by the way, as well, I cannot wait to show you the first pick today because they're so beautiful. But anyway, amazingly, I haven't had blight. And I say amazingly because we've had such damp days. And like I said the other day, not necessarily rain, not sort of heavy rain doing anything by way of, soaking the ground and watering the plants, but just really moist days, drizzle, just this sort of continuous sort of damp shroud sitting on everything. Perfect blight weather. And I know that... just saw another little side shoot. Geraldine. Hello, Geraldine. I don't know exactly where she lives, but I know she lives fairly near me over that way, maybe 5 or 6 miles away from me. I know that she's lost all of her tomato plants to blight a couple of weeks ago, I think. So the reason I'm mentioning the blight data, cutting them down, if we have a really lovely autumn like we've had for the last few years, these plants will go on and on and on producing. Because, touch wood, I haven't had blight yet, they are, going on and producing. So that's my indecision about, do I leave 5 trusses? They may come to fruition, but that's why I'll keep an eye on things. I'll keep flexible, but realistically I've only got 2 more months to get my crop out of these plants. So yeah, let's take the tops out. There's no point in having 9 trusses because those top 2-3 trusses, they won't really come to anything. Let's focus on what is there and giving all of that a helping hand. So I'm going to quickly tie this one in. I've brought my bag today. I've got a garden apron somewhere, but I can't find it. A friend may have admired it and I've given it to them, I don't know. Because the plants are so tall now, when I first do all these sort of cares, I do them sitting down. My legs are going to ache when I get home tonight. But yeah, because I do it sitting down, I sit with all my bits and pieces next to me. Excuse me a second. So my string, my scissors, my secateurs, all my bits and bobs, sorry, they're right next to me in the chair. But once the plants are sort of, we're getting a few breezes suddenly and some clouds. It's quite a relief when the clouds come over. Yeah, now that the plants are so tall, I want all my bits and pieces to hand in my bag rather than, save me going up, down to the floor every 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to just move down the plant. It might be easier to show you on one of the ones over there, in terms of a bit more pruning, but also I want to show you some leaves that might give you a fright, but they're not frightening. Hang on a tick. Just before we get tucked into more tomatoes, I just wanted to show you this site. Oh, let me come back a bit. It's so pretty. Oh, here comes some wind, creek grown. I love it. I love this, the combination of the Nigella, Love in a Mist, and its beautiful foliage, and then the verbena, and the gorgeous cosmos. I already need to do some deadheading. Loads more cosmos coming. That's such a happy sight. I love this combination of it's not my favourite pink in the world, but against the verbena and the blue of the Nigella, it's lovely. And then I don't know if you can quite make out, but the little pops of orangey red in the background of the tomatoes. Okay, right, enough of that distraction. Let's get stuck in with these lower parts of the tomato plants. Hooray, I can sit down for this bit. So you can see on the leaves here, they're sort of browning at the edges, curling up a bit. They're dying back. I wanted to show you them though because, while I'm here, side shoot, I mean. Yeah, this isn't blight. Why am I showing you something that's not blight? Well, because if you've never had blight before, you may not know what you're looking at, what you're looking for. Ideally, well, not ideally, if it was, I was going to say ideally I'd have some blight to show you, but that would not be ideal at all. So let me try and describe. Blight looks more black, and you will see sort of sections on your stem will appear. Let's take this one off because that's what we're here to do. Yeah, you will see, maybe a sort of an 2 inch section on your stem, and it looks sort of very dark green, almost black. I've got a little shoot right down at the soil level as well. We can have that out. So you may see it on the stem first, you may see it on a leaf. Quite often you'll see it in the centre of the leaf that look like a black splodge. I would say it's pretty distinctive, but then I've seen it before, so maybe I would say that. But for now, this is just the plant is dying back a bit, and I don't. As I mentioned the other day, I haven't been around to water the plants at all, so I'm not surprised, frankly, to see leaves in a shocking state. I hope that reassures some of you if you've seen that kind of, if your leaves are sort of curling up and going a bit crispy, brown, yellow like that it's not blight. Look, I think what it boils down to, sorry, I'm carrying on working as we sit and chat. What it boils down to is if you see something on your plant and you're not sure and you think, gosh, is that blight? Especially when they're outdoors on an allotment site, because my goodness, it spreads like wildfire. And if it is blight, you need to get those plants out and destroyed pronto to hopefully prevent it spreading to all your neighbours. But if you do see something and you're not sure, ask one of your plot neighbours. Ask someone who's been, doing their garden for quite a few years now. If you're in the UK, especially sort of in the south, I don't think we've had blight for 3 or 4 years now. So you might have to ask one of your allotment neighbours who's been gardening for 5 years or more, because your newer gardeners might not have seen it, might never have seen it, lucky them. But yeah, if you're not sure, ask someone, because yes, if it is blight, you need to get those plants whipped out pronto. So never mind that the leaves are dying back, can we see this little beautiful truss of fruits here? Oh, my shadow's in the way. I'm also just trying to expose the fruits to a bit of sunshine. Some people say it makes no difference. Well, for me, I don't know, it feels like it does, so I do it. Right, it's going to take me ages to get all these cares done. But once I've done it all, come back and we'll do some picking. Woohoo! By way of the ergonomics and just to sort of make it easier, sort of quicker for myself, I've gone through the entire lot and did all my prunings and side shoot side shoot pinching out, prunings and topping out. masses of material all for the compost. And then it just makes it easier to go along now, tying everything in. And making the most of this lovely, really lovely bit of sunshine. One of the lovely things about where my plot is, being close to the main path, and the great thing about having the tomato plants in this top bed, they take a lot of care, there's a lot of attention, I spend a lot of time with them, is it's a great spot for chatting. And I've had some really lovely chats today already. Opla. Oh, it's really stiff. It's the trunk's too thick. It's too stiff. I'll do it in a second. Yeah, one of the chats actually made me start salivating. So as soon as I've done all this tying in, yeah, let's finally pick our first harvest, and I'll explain as well why it seems so late compared with other folk. But for now, I've got to wrestle with this big birther of a trunk. It really is a trunk. Oh, and invariably a side shoot I missed. Right, this time I'm having it. I need more hands. That's got it. One more at the top. Oh, I can't reach. Another side shoot. Oh la la. It's big. Oh my goodness. I am giddy with excitement. Oh, at last, at long last. So, it's the 25th today. In fairness, I think the first ones had ripened around about the 17th or 18th. This variety is Gardener's Delight. Let's start picking. Look, my hands are tomato tar hands. So yeah, the first ones were just ripening around about the 17th of August. Now, it's one of the issues with Gardener's Delight. So in previous years, I've grown all sorts of varieties, myriad varieties. This year, because I was a bit lackadaisical about the whole garden, I've just done Gardener's Delight. They're a fabulous all-round tomato, whether you're having them, I mean, look, that's a little tomato perfection, isn't it? Whether you're having them raw in salads or cooked, if you're making sauces. In terms of bottling, they're good for bottling because they're a slightly higher acid tomato. The only problem with them is, and then when they grow, they are prolific. I mean, you can see beautiful, beautiful bunches all the way up. So they're great. The only problem with them is they do ripen a bit later in the season than other varieties. And the reason that, well, apart from the fact that I've been gagging for a tomato for ages. Now, in fairness, a few days ago, my neighbours next door, they gave me a handful of their tomatoes, which were gorgeous. But yeah, it's, I've been just dying for my first fresh tomato of the... Well, I haven't had a fresh tomato since about October last year, so I've been really looking forward to this. Never mind the weight. The problem is, if we had blight, we can get blight really early. We can get blight as early as July. I'd have lost a whole lot before they've even really properly come to fruition or fruit. So yeah, if you're, I would say, yes, grow gardeners delight, they're lovely, but if you're in a blight-prone area, the UK, either grow them under glass in your greenhouse or do grow other varieties alongside them, varieties which will ripen earlier, just to be on the safe side. But I think I've just about got away with it this year. So come on, let's go and pick some more. Do another pick tomorrow, but that, oh, so happy. Right, can't wait to get home and scoff. I need something to go with them, don't I? Let's go and have a look in the cuke bed. I'm here in the crinkly cuke bed. So I've found a couple of nice smaller sized ones. They'll be lovely. These are a variety called Long Green Maraîcher. Actually, they came from France originally, so it's Vert Long Maraîcher. I love them even with their skins. Some people find the skins a bit knobbly and tough. Skin them if you prefer. I generally like to eat my skins on things anyway. Extra nutrition, good nutrition. Now, because I've been away for 3 weeks, oh my god, this bed's gone mad. I'm just going to try to show you. I mean, it's littered, absolutely littered with monster cukes. Now, I know some people might say, oh, you can do cucumber soup. I don't like cold soups, yuck, I can't think of anything more hideous. Cucumber curry, now I don't know about that one, I'm thinking I might give it a try. But yeah, there's a lot of these which are they're a bit too big to be enjoyable. Some of them, at that size, that's perfectly good still. The skin's taken a bit of a battering. Skin it, have the contents. But what I am thinking about already, I know the summer's hardly out, is, for instance, can you see that one's starting to go really yellow? I would definitely not eat it at that stage. Just why would I eat stuff that's past its best? I want to eat stuff when it's at its best or is near its best. But with a lot of the giant veg in the garden at the moment, giant courgette and the stuff that's gone over a bit, in my absence, I'm going to get it all off, probably tomorrow, get it all off, give all the plants a chance to put more out, save whatever's usable, and, compost what's not, and don't lose any sleep over it. These things happen. But when I'm doing that, what I will be doing is, in the cuke bed, for instance, that's a nice one, I will be selecting a couple. I don't need a couple, I only need one for seed saving. They have millions, not millions, but certainly dozens and dozens and dozens of seeds in every single fruit. One fruit does enough for me for seed saving for myself and for me to give seeds to other people. I gave Paul some seeds I think I'm going to send my mum some seed. But yeah, I want to make sure I earmark at least one for seed saving. You can put, a bright red ribbon around the stalk of a plant, stem of a plant maybe, or piece of string, whatever it is, just if you need a visual reminder, something to remember, at least one of these fruits needs saving for seed. And the reason I'm talking about saving it on the plant, and you might think, well, why don't I just take the seed out of this one, save these seeds, is because the seeds in this cucumber aren't mature, they're not ripe yet. With all our seeds, we want to, in a way, think about what happens in nature. We want to replicate nature. And in nature, these wouldn't get picked and eaten. They'd stay on the vine. They get bigger and bigger, and then they start to go yellow like this one. And eventually they'll go soft and they start to get a bit mushy, and then eventually they'll just fall apart and rot. The seeds will be released on the soil as the rest of the fruit rots away. Ta-da! So I'm sort of replicating nature. I want to leave it on the vine as long as possible. Let those seeds really, really, really mature, get really, really ripe inside the fruit. And then at the very last minute, I'll have the fruit off and I'll scoop the seeds out, and it will be a really sloppy mess. Don't care. It's one of the easiest seed savings you can do in your garden. So I've got my bits and bobs for supper, and yes, you can bet your bottom dollar I picked up some feta in the shops yesterday. I'm going to have my first Greek salad of the year. Woohoo! I've got some olives, I've got a red onion. I am all set for one of my most favourite meals. Can't wait. Right, I need to think about what else I need to do in the garden before I go, but I just want to go now. That's it. I want to go, and I want to get home, and I want to get scoffing. It's another day when the air is so still. Apart from the aeroplane, it's dead quiet. Just trying to remember to, despite it being quiet, speak up a bit. Although I want to whisper because it's so peaceful. So, I suddenly remembered I'm taking my seeds home this evening. So talking of seed saving, cucumbers, I'm taking my seed tin home with me this afternoon. I just want to kind of go through it, check what I've got, what I haven't got, what I need to remember to save this year after last year not doing much by way of saving. And I can't remember how this came up the other day. I put something on Facebook. I can't remember what it was. And it really struck a thought, and it was someone's comment. I think it was Mary. And it was their comment, and it really, this struck me so hard. I've got no words, sorry. Right, what's your point, Vivi? The point I'm trying to make is, this is my seed tin, my vegetable seeds. Apart from I've got a couple of jars with, bean seeds in, because they're bigger, chunkier. But this is it. It's not a huge tin. My seed tin. What staggers me, and it never fails to amaze me every single year, especially with something like a tomato seed, because they're so tiny, is that entire garden came out of here. I mean, it's bonkers, isn't it? An entire garden is contained in here. And that perfect sort of visual demonstration of how precious our seeds are. So what starts in here becomes an entire garden for the year, becomes the vast majority of my food for a year. I mean, certainly in previous years of my growing, I'm growing less this year, we know, but in previous years, nearly all my food for the year. The potential that's in this little box, it's huge, isn't it? And that's why, I mean, saving seed is always precious, isn't it? It's great when we save our own seeds. We become a little bit more self-sufficient. We're not relying on shops giving us what we want, especially some of these older varieties which aren't necessarily readily available. some things which aren't available in an organic seed, just because the organic seed developers haven't kind of got there yet with them. Seed saving is so important. It's important for us as individuals, it's important for the planet, and I really want, I mean, I keep saying, I don't, you know, how long is a piece of string? I don't know when, where, how, what, in terms of the house move. But what I do know is that I'm going to look after this. I'm going to make sure I seed save again this year and fill up this box once again with my precious food future. It's as simple as that. And just hold out hope that wherever I end up with space to put all this dry stuff into some moist soil and have another garden. It's treasure. This is my treasure. This is the kind of thing, you know, people say if your house was burning down, what would you save? I'd save my seeds. Seeds and photographs. Right, I brought not enough Tupperware with me to get my tomatoes home crush free, hopefully. Actually, the good thing about doing my first pick today is there is one, where is it? This one, you see, is split. It's really, really ripe. The rest, they are sort of perfectly ripe, perfect ripeness, nice and red, not a hint of orange on it. Some of them are a little bit orange still. But what it means is getting them at this stage, I'm getting them before they are so ripe that they're mushy. Just about. And then there's another load there. But yeah, I think I'm at the stage now where I will probably be picking tomatoes at least once a week, possibly twice a week. What I might do is midweek do a smaller pick just for eating over the coming days. Weekends do a bigger pick for preserving. I need to make some room in my one freezer. Oh, lovely stuff. Oh, there is someone else here. I thought I was on my own. Right, time for me and my tomatoes to get home. I was going to carry on with this video at home, making up my Greek salad, my favourite meal, but I'm not, because I think by the time I get home and start to make it, I'm going to be drooling and making noises that don't need to be recorded. Can't wait. All right, lovelies, thank you so much for hanging out with me in the garden again today. It's turned out to be a beautiful day, and I've got tomato fingers, and I couldn't be happier. All right, lovelies, until next time, cheerio.